Hi! Hello, everyone. It's Kendall here. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're not new around here, what is up, home skillet biscuit? Happy Saturday. When I'm not dropping the ball, it's when I do something on my channel called Bad Movies in a Beat, the series on my channel where I talk about bad movies, so I put my makeup on. But when I come in with something that took my attention away from Bad Movies in a Beat, you guys usually find it entertaining all the same. The last month has been crazy in the US. It's always just insane here, but like there's so many situations where it kind of feels like you're living in this pressure cooker with only idiots arguing about whether or not the people within the pressure cooker deserve to have the valve released as the steam and the pressure grows and grows and grows and grows and grows, and then at some point they just relent to blame the people within the pressure cooker for their issues as opposed to just turning it off, stopping the inanimate object that is leading to all the pain and destruction. So instead of allowing myself to fall deeper into just this nihilism cocoon that I tend to be in, I decided to step my toe into the rabbit hole that is Tingle. And that's why I didn't watch a movie this week, because I was too busy doing that. Instead, I thought we'd do a live reaction, live reading. I've had a lot of people ask me to do reactions on bad books, but it all seems so time consuming. That's why I never did it. But today, I have several novellas from the illustrious writer, so I figured that would be a fun time to take you guys down that distractingly wild rabbit hole. So yeah, hopefully this experience will be a bit of a respite for you and I. Who knows what else the American government and Mercury retrograde have in store for us. All right, anyway, but we're gonna send it over to Admiral Kenny because gas is $6 on top of that. So sending it over to Admiral Kenny. Thank you. I'm excited for this one. Hello, today's video is sponsored by Harry's. Let's effing go. I can't curse in this, I don't think. Funny story, my managers came to me and were like, would you be interested in working with a men's razors brand? I know that probably sounds really out of nowhere, out of left field, but oh, you'd be shocked by how actually great this is, because Harry's is the razors that I personally use and the ones that I consistently buy. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about how women's razors got me messed up. Y'all not gonna shame me. Gender norms and consumerism tell me that I have to use a pink razor because I'm a lady. I am not gonna let you charge me 40% more because I identify as a woman. You can eat I probably can't say that in an ad either. You can eat delicious crumpets. But no, seriously, I've been using Harry's pretty consistently for the last 2 years because one, they're just really good razors. When I shave my legs with a Harry's razor, I can tell qualitatively, and I guess quantitatively too, because you can count the days. I can go way longer without shaving again. One time I shaved my legs and I was pretty sure I would have to shave them again 3 weeks later, and I still didn't need to. I was like, what are they using? I guess the shave is so close that I can go longer without shaving my legs. I actually, just to make sure it wasn't placebo, I ended up buying another razor, a women's razor, shaved my legs, and within 3 days I was like, yeah. So back to Harry's razors we are, baby. Premium blades are manufactured in their own company in Germany, and they give a close, comfortable, and reliably smooth shave every time. They also come in really fun colors as well. Everything that's a man's company for some reason has to be black. Men can only wear black, otherwise it's not manly. And the reason why I personally purchase them is because they're a really good price. Blade refills are very reasonable as well, and also again, they're just way more effective than other razors that I've used, because I've always found that as a tall woman with very long dancer's legs, shave and take too long. It's a very arduous process a lot of times, but I find that when I use Harry's, I'm able to get it done super quickly because I don't have to go over the same area over and over again. I go once and it's done. If you want to try out Harry's, they actually have a starter kit where you can get your 5-blade razor, a weighted handle, a blade cover, and a shaving cream. Also, Harry's has a money back guarantee, so you can test it out and see if you like it as much as I do. So if you would like to check out Harry's, you can check that out in the description box down below using my link. Big thanks again to Harry's for sponsoring today's video and keeping my legs silky smooth. And now on to the debauchery. Chuck Tingle is an enigma, an illustrious author with a homegrown community, all of which are obsessed with his truly remarkable works of fiction and erotica. As you recall, last week I gave you guys a quick glimpse of some titles that I had heard from Chuck Tingle. Titles including, but not limited to, The Sun and the Moon Bang Me Bisexually, My Handsome Sentient Face Mask Protects Me Despite the Ridiculous Conspiracy Theories That He Won't. Also, He Pounds My Butt. Professor T-Rex Teaches Me Gayness. And England's ass is haunted by a hung parliament. It's giving camp, and it's just like, this is the outrageousness I need. But since then, I've also been made aware that Chuck Tingle has hella books. Like, so many. Impressive. Like, he must make, like, one a week, honestly, to have this many of them in such a short time frame. I wanted to learn a bit more about Chuck Tingle and also dip a toe, because that's all the time we have, into some of the works of this, again, very elusive man who has self-proclaimed himself the greatest author of our generation. That is per chucktingle.com. So if you don't know who Chuck Tingle is, because I didn't, apparently he's a two-time Hugo Award finalist, Dr. Chuck Tingle is an erotic author and Taekwondo grandmaster, almost black belt, from Billings, Montana, by way of Home of Truth, Utah. What does that mean? Okay, he currently resides in the City of Devils, Los Angeles, after receiving his PhD at DeVry University in holistic massage. Okay, Chuck found himself fascinated by all things sensual, leading to his creation of The Tingler, a story so blissfully erotic that it cannot be experienced without eliciting a sharp tingle down the spine. Chuck has two podcasts, one titled Pounded in the Butt by My Own Podcast, which is in reference to his series of books, which I just like to call the Pounded in the Butt by My Own Butt universe. Those, of course, includes Pounded in the Butt by My Own Butt, then subsequent books such as Pounded in the Butt by my book, Pounded in the Butt by My Own Butt, and then the third book, Pounded in the Butt by my book, Pounded in the Butt by my book, Pounded in the Butt by My Own Butt, so on and so forth. And another podcast called My Friend Chuck. Now, I have not listened to either podcast, but I did dip a toe in quickly to see. I was just curious what Chuck Tingle's voice would sound like. And it is somehow everything that you expect it to be, but not at all expected.
Chuck Tingle's Complete Guide. Ghosts.
Dr. Tingle's work has been featured in a lot of shit, and it just makes me feel like one of the many people who have been blessed enough to actually have a first impression of the work, and I'm really excited, especially because when I was introduced to the work of Chuck Tingle on Twitter, I decided to go down the rabbit hole, and I announced my descent into it, though reluctantly at first. Lo and behold, one of the people that decided to reply to that list of books that I wanted to read was none other than Chuck Tingle himself. He was gracious enough to actually send me the 4 books that I was interested in reading, as well as a bonus book. Now, today, because we only have so much time, I was thinking that we could read through a few. I now have 5 in my possession. Maybe I'll read 2 or 3 today, and then maybe along the way, if this does all right, we can do a series of other things that will pound in your butt by your own butt. By your own book, too. The 4 that I was initially struck by were just kind of ignoring this sad, loathsome T-Rex who is screaming "debate me" from his folding chair. Bisexual Mothman Mailman makes a special delivery in our butts. My macaroni and cheese is a lesbian, also she is my lawyer. And the physical manifestation of Wurdle, spelled W-U-R-D-L-E, pounds my butt as a slightly frustrated but ultimately rewarding and meditative daily routine. And again, I was so graciously contacted personally by Chuck Pringle. I keep wanting to call him Chuck Tingle, that he actually added in the collection that I said that I would be interested in reading, Unionized in the Butt, and now everyone is safer, happier, and better paid. And apparently that book was to raise money for Amazon labor union, so that's really cool. All jokes aside, thank you so much, Chuck, for sending it over. If we find along the way that we enjoy the series, there's a few more books that also caught my attention, including but not limited to Slammed in the Butt by the Concept of Time, and his first ever horror novel, simply called Straight. But today, I think I'm gonna like eeny, meeny, miny, moe it and see which 2 I'm gonna read, okay? Mothman and Wurdle. We're doing Mothman and Wurdle today. They're all novellas as I've seen thus far. So I guess let's start off with bisexual Mothman Mailman makes a special delivery in our butts.
A few moments later.
So this book seems to be about a couple, Ivy and an unnamed man author who's speaking from first person. They like work from home and they have a pretty normal life. And one day the doorbell rings. They go to answer the door thinking it would be their mailman, Noah, who delivers packages to their house every day for the last 6 years. But it appears something has happened because the guy standing before me is certainly not Noah. Instead, I'm faced with a muscular Mothman, the creature covered in grayish white hair and sporting a large pair of wings folded against his back. His eyes are huge and glowing, placed lower than one might expect, giving the rare cryptid a distinct appearance, as though his head was actually positioned somewhere deep within his muscular chest. Package for Ivy Harrington, the handsome Mothman informed me, holding out a small box. Anyone can sign for it. I just need a signature. Oh, thank you, I stammer. Noah taking the day off? The Mothman shakes his head, which consists of him turning his entire body from side to side. Afraid not, the creature replied. He's no longer with us. Thank you, the Mothman replies. I'll be seeing you. The creature turns to leave, but I call out to stop him in his tracks. What's your name? I question. Indrid, the Mothman replies. Nice to meet you. I'm Cooper. Now we know he's Cooper. Okay, that's good. He's dressed quite conservatively in a typical... how would you be dressed liberally as a mailman? He gonna go out with hoochie shorts? Okay. But the cut of the pants hung just right across the Mothman's perfectly toned rump. When do we f*** the mailman? So I'm trying to decide what to read aloud because I haven't read this yet. But essentially they meet the mailman. It's the Mothman. He's apparently taken the place of their mailman, Noah. And apparently he's really buff. He's really ripped with a nice butt Mothman mailman who came to deliver a package to Ivy. Ivy gets whatever her package is. Apparently it's a new book. Again, we love to see the backside of the writing process. Apparently the book is called Bisexual Buckaroos, 7 bi group encounters in the Tingle verse. Is this a real book? It is. It's a real book. That's pretty impressive to have a plug for your own book in one of your own books. That looks fun, I offer, taking in the gorgeous couple standing proudly on the cover between a dinosaur and a Bigfoot. My wife grins mischievously. I thought we could read it together. Initially, I'd planned on keeping my powerful attraction to the Mothman Mailman under wraps. It suddenly dawns on me, however, that Ivy might be just as interested in our handsome new mailman as I am. The mailman was pretty cute, I finally inform her. You would have liked him. Maybe I'll get the door next time, Ivy offers. So Cooper is just like obsessed with the thought of the Mothman's ass. And he's like, oh, what I should do is like order something so that the Mothman comes back. And then maybe me and my wife would be into like doing something with the mailman. Mothman Mailman. I settle on a brand new pin and the mailman comes. The Mothman Mailman. He asks his wife if she wants to get the door so now she can see the mailman for herself. She grins, shaking her head from side to side in an expression of good-natured frustration and begrudging excitement. She takes a deep breath and stands from her chair, then strolls out into the living room as she makes her way towards the front door. Apparently she is stammered by his beauty. Indrid, the mailman Mothman, introduces himself and he leaves. So now she's met the mailman. Her jaw hanging open, her eyes are wide as she walks back to me. She mouths the words, "Oh my God," as she approaches, then hands me the package before wrapping her arms around me. You weren't kidding, she continues, kissing me deeply on the lips. Over the next few days, my wife and I make far more online purchases than we probably should. It's not long before we strike up a casual rapport with this handsome Mothman, learning about his life and growing ever more attracted by his laid-back confidence. We learn a lot over the course of those few days, like the fact that Mothmen are technically a species of Bigfoot, and that Indrid could make his rounds much faster with the use of his wings, but he's required to drive the mail truck for advertising purposes. It's also becoming glaringly apparent that Indrid's attraction is not just towards my wife, but me as well. All three of us are openly flirting whenever he arrives. Okay, and now I think we come into the moment where they're gonna ask the Mothman Mailman if he's down to My wife grins mischievously, then reaches out and runs her hand down Indrid's muscular chest, a move that clearly tips our usual flirtatious conversation into something much, much more. The Mothman smiles, understanding exactly what's going on here. It's my duty as a mailman to make sure all packages get where they're going in working order. Oh God. Oh God. Oh no. Okay. Oh, there's no way this is gonna be. I don't know why I just realized there's no way that this is gonna be monetized. But okay, so the wife orders a toy that is for grown-ups, and the Mothman is like, we gotta make sure it's not damaged in transit. Apparently there's more than one big package that he delivered to the room. The next thing I know, the handsome Mothman is opening his mouth wide and taking my two lovers begin to pass my dragging their and other times with frantic enthusiasm. My wife reaches up and cradles my as she How does the Mothman give? He don't have a neck. They literally said that he can't like twist his head. They said he had to move his whole body. How do you just like move the whole upper part? Wow, gullet. That's a word I've never seen written in erotica before. Deeper and deeper, she slots my entire within her gullet. And oh wow, this, I gotta say, this isn't just Chuck Tingle, but erotica really makes sex sound terrible. She sound talented though. Gullet. Okay. Looks perfect, the Mothman Mailman observes. Now, let's take it for a test drive in my What are you waiting for, Indrid Coos? Come this tight Mothman. Unlubricated? I just realized that. Y'all just... Okay, while they're busy, the wife is like, should we see if my package is in working order too? The Mothman and I look up to see Ivy standing proudly before us, and oh my God. The three of us are now hunched over in a long row of pleasures, stacked like pleasure-seeking dominoes, just ready to fall over. That's more artful than I was gonna say. I was gonna say like a human centipede type thing. The feeling of the Mothman's payload is enough to send me over the edge of my own mighty... a word I can't say, but I just thought payload was funny. It's like, here's the thing. The more I'm reading it, it's pretty standard, but then you'll just have these flashes that remind you it's a Mothman. I want to with a Mothman. When the three of us finally finish, we collapse into a pile right there in the middle of the living room, panting hard as we struggle to catch our breaths. I'm looking forward to more special deliveries he offers. Us too. And that is a wow. I'm just sitting here panicking because I'm like, what can I even save of that to put in the video? Okay, let's try to go on to the next one and see what happens. But this is the physical manifestation of Wurdle pounds my butt as a slightly frustrating but ultimately rewarding and meditative daily routine. So basically, okay, so I'm a few pages in, and apparently our unnamed narrator is just like a normal guy who's like working on creating a self-care routine. On this particular day, he decides, in addition to his usual morning self-care routine, including drinking chocolate milk, consuming overnight oats, and meditating, he decides to try Wurdle. There's a whole paragraph here just explaining the rules of Wurdle, like if you've never played it. Despite having never played before, I get the feeling these little riddles are right up my alley. It's not just the fact that I love games, it's the assurance this particular game has a distinctly meditative component that fits perfectly within my already introspective mornings. I consider my options, recognizing a good way to start is to think of something with common letters that don't often repeat. Pound. I press enter and watch as my results appear, but to my disappointment, I haven't managed to uncover much. There are no green results, although a U is hidden in there somewhere. I'm not sure why I think it was particular input, but it appears the rest of I'm starting to think this game isn't quite as meditative as I'd heard. I feel like an idiot, not because I failed the Wordle test, but because I let it get under my skin. Moments later, A large floating figure positions themselves above me, gazing down with a look of utter confusion. I'm shocked to find this unforeseen visitor is the physical manifestation of my most recent Wordle game. Ugh, is all I can say. What are you doing here? You tell me, the living concept. It's literally the floating concept and idea of a Wordle game is going to participate in a sexual act. I'm Hompo, the living game offers. Carl, I offer in return. I haven't really touched on this, but there's like drawn out parts of these novellas that are actually pretty introspective and they're really funny in this context. But there are all kinds of ways to get in touch with yourself, Hompo explains. Some people like a quiet moment of silence. Others like blasting heavy metal music. Neither of those methods is wrong. Maybe learning how to relax using brain games is a lesson that would help you grow even more. If you don't like it, that's fine. But since you've manifested me already, you might as well try. First of all, you have to stop guessing only sex-related words. What? I don't. Your last game was pound, touch, and tight. Oh, I stammered, considering his words for a moment. Okay then, sure. Here's the problem. You've got sex on the brain. When's the last time you got laid? It's been a while. The two of us sit quietly now, our eyes locked for reasons I can't fully understand. My subconscious brain has taken over, routing the actions of my body well before I know what they mean. I'd been so frustrated earlier that I didn't realize how incredibly handsome Hompo is. A beautiful simplicity to his gameplay mechanics. The physical manifestation of Wurdle nods, slowly standing from the couch and strolling confidently towards me. I rise to meet him, and the next thing I know, we're kissing passionately, our hands frantically exploring one another's bodies in a potent release of erotic tension. I'm looking for a D. I softly cooed in the living Wurdle's ear. I think it might be right down here. While I had plenty of trouble interpreting his letter-based clues, Hompo's body is much easier to read. I gotta say, skimming through all of the like erotica, most of it is just regular erotica. Like if you're into erotica, it's fine. Like it's a genre. 5% of the time, you actually get reminded that it's some like wacky things having sex. Give me a 5-letter word the sentient online game suggests. Prank or truth or gumbo or names, I offer, rattling off the first few random words that pop into my head. None of them are sexual. Hompo smiles. Those are all great. The next morning, I wake up in the light of the sun. I stretch on my bed, just like I usually do, only this time my arms and foot connect with the warmth of Hompo as he lies here next to me. My lover is still asleep, and I don't wake him as I slip out into the living room. I sit down and begin this exciting new puzzle. It's finally revealed that the correct word is pound. My initial guess on yesterday's puzzle. Right now, with Hompo by my side, I feel relaxed, thoughtful, and yes, meditative. I reach out and pull him close, excited for what tomorrow brings. And those are my first 2 initial readings of works from Chuck Tingle. My initial reviews, though, of the novellas themselves is that they're pretty standard erotica if you take away the kind of ludicrous subject matter. Because it's not like you have a lot of reminders that you're a Mothman, but when you do, it's always like, ah! If you're into erotica, I guess a funny take on them. To be honest with you, I'd like more comedy. I'd like more out-of-pocket one-liners that remind you about the stupid shit you're watching. I don't know if I just picked 2 that didn't have particularly much in them. I wonder if the Bigfoot ones or like the initial ones that Chuck wrote were where they did more of that. They're erotica. So if you're into erotica and just want to have something make you laugh along the way occasionally, this does it. I want more one-liner puns. Mothman this ass. Hilarious. So anyway, that's all with today's video. I guess this is a mess. I don't know what this is gonna be once I start editing. But big thanks again to Chuck for sending these over, and all jokes aside, you make work that's truly in the very definition of the word remarkable. I'm excited to read more work along the way. But if you like this video, feel free to like this video. Follow me on all my social media, Instagram and Twitter, both of which are KennieJD, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.